Bienvenue. Je suis content que tu sois là. I'm happy that you're here. Welcome to my show where we go all around the world to explore music and psychology. A song that has over 1 billion views, released in 2013. And this song, while super catchy and trendy and many love to dance to it, it makes for great reels as we see in this latest viral trend. But those who don't speak French or don't know the backstory behind this may not realize just how painful and beautiful this song actually is. I love this song, Stromae's song Papaoutai, which is a phonics spelling play on the French phrase Papaoutai, Father, where are you? Dad, where are you? This song is very personal to me and I love it dearly. So this is not a first time reaction. This is me diving into what actually the backstory behind this is and wanting to talk about this matter, fatherless generation and our deep longing for a paternal figure, and dive into just how profound this music video is. So buckle up. This is deeper than you realized. Before we dive in, as always, please make sure to subscribe. A lifeless doll, wax figure, and a child playing. I love the fact that they're dressed the same. It's very poignant, and we'll talk about all of this in the end.
Dites-moi d'où il vient, enfin je saurai où je vais. Maman dit que lorsqu'on cherche bien, on finit toujours par trouver. Elle dit qu'il n'est jamais très loin, qu'il part très souvent travailler. Maman dit travailler c'est bien, bien mieux qu'être mal accompagné. Pas vrai? Où est ton papa? Dis-moi où est ton papa? Sans même devoir lui parler, il sait ce qui ne va pas. Ah sacré papa, dis-moi où es-tu caché? Ça doit faire au moins 1000 fois que j'ai compté mes doigts. Hey. Où t'es papa, où t'es? Où t'es papa, où t'es? Où t'es papa, où t'es? Où t'es, où t'es, où papa, où t'es?
I'm noticing things right now that I had noticed before, and I can't wait to talk to you guys about it, but I just want to take this in for a moment. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm already getting kind of emotional. As I've mentioned, this is not the first time I've heard this song. This is a very powerful, beautiful, and personal song to me. And I love it, the beat, the composition, the crescendo, the drums kicking in, his voice, that slight yodel, the sweet boy acting in this music video, doing such a great job at depicting these emotions. There's a lot of things that are making this phenomenal. But it is very personal, and oh my gosh, even after all these years, it's hard not to cry.
Où t'es, papa, où t'es? Où t'es, papa, où t'es? Où t'es, papa, où t'es? Où t'es, où t'es, où papa, où t'es? Quoi, qu'on y croit ou pas, y aura bien un jour où on n'y croira plus. Un jour ou l'autre, on sera tous papa, et d'un jour à l'autre, on aura disparu. Serons-nous détestables? Serons-nous admirables? Des géniteurs ou des génies? Dites-nous qui donne naissance aux irresponsables. Hein? Dites-nous qui? Tiens, tout le monde sait comment on fait des bébés, mais personne sait comment on fait des papas. Monsieur, je sais tout, on aurait hérité, c'est ça. Faut le sucer de son pouce ou quoi? Dites-nous où c'est caché, ça doit faire au moins 1000 fois qu'on a bouffé nos doigts. Hey. Où t'es, papa, où t'es? Où t'es, papa, où t'es? Où t'es, papa, où t'es? Papa, dis-moi où est ton papa? Sans même devoir lui parler, il sait ce qui ne va pas. Ah sacré papa, dis-moi où es-tu caché? Ça doit faire au moins 1000 fois que j'ai compté mes doigts. Hey. Où est ton papa? Dis-moi où est ton papa? Sans même devoir lui parler, il sait ce qui ne va pas. Ah sacré papa, dis-moi où es-tu caché? Ça doit faire au moins 1000 fois que j'ai compté mes doigts. Hey. Où t'es, papa, où t'es? Où t'es, papa, où t'es? Où t'es, papa, où t'es? Où t'es, où t'es, où papa, où t'es? Où t'es, 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 où
Oh my gosh, this is so much deeper than I realized. I love this song so much. And for me, it wasn't just a catchy dance tune. For me, this is personal. And I wish that at 38, that pain isn't there anymore. But I have to admit to you guys, and you guys know we're about the psychology, mental health, and looking at things from a therapist and teacher and musician's angle. And I want to be real with you, you guys. Some days more than others. It still hurts so much, doesn't it? For those of you who've lost a father or who've experienced the absence of a father, it's crazy that that pain never really goes away. We heal, yes, absolutely. And we start understanding, maybe looking at our parents through the eyes of compassion, as we see even in James Blunt's Monsters, right? We deal with generational patterns and we try to do the work. But you hear something like this, and even though this is a child asking, Father, where are you? Dad, where are you? The inner child within us knows that pain. Those of us who've experienced that, and on some days, maybe more than others, that pain is still there, and that's what makes this so personal and beyond just a fun, amazing musical composition. I mean, the crescendo, the beat is amazing. The dance moves of these artists are phenomenal and so artistic. I mean, it's a full-blown performance. This is not just a music video to go with the song. This is storytelling. But it's also so much deeper than just that painful phrase, Dad, where are you? And seeing this wax figure of a father and a child that's so desperately pleading for their parents' presence. There are so many elements that Stromae and his team did so well here that are incredibly profound. It begins with this black and white distorted TV screen, right? The whole setting is very nostalgic and very back in the day, which makes for fun music video cinematography. But it feels fitting even to this idea of a lack of or loss of frequency. When the inner child within us is longing for that parent, and because of the loss of a mother or father, because of their absence, because of their abuse, neglect, whatever it is that you've experienced, there is this lack of connection. There is a desperate desire for connection, to find the right channel, to connect, to click in, for our antenna to somehow reach out, search for meaning in life, because our parents are the ones who put us into this earth. And it is so painful when they leave and they breathe their last. And as James Blunt so beautifully says in his song Monsters, it's time for us to turn off the lights for them. But there's this deep connect tie to our identity, and ideally, as we get healthier, as we get older, and if we're healthy, we learn to disconnect those ties. That umbilical cord is cut, and from the second that cord is cut, every second is a next step in that child emancipating itself and eventually becoming a mom or dad themselves. And it's a painful process both for parents and children to go through that process of figuring out, what does it mean to be a mom and a dad? What does it mean to be a person in this world? Who am I connected to my mom and dad? Eventually we realize, even young babies, a few months into their new life, they start realizing they're their own person. Now come the toddler stages of emancipation and throwing a fit, still very much needing your parents, but wanting to get your way. We transition into adulthood, trying to make sense of the world, now starting to relate to other people, fall in love, form our friendships that may or may not last into adulthood, become parents ourselves, and the pattern continues. But our relationship to our parents and feeling their absence is like a distortion to your network, to the way you relate to the world. Who am I if I don't have a mom and dad? Who am I if if there is nobody to guide me and show me the way? This wax figure of a father who is present but not is so poignant, because this is relatable not only to those who've lost their parents to death, but also many who may have their parents around physically, but ongoingly grief because they are not really present, because they're emotionally absent, either always at work, as even was the case with Stromae's father, who was an architect, a Rwandan architect, always busy, always at work. That desire for a child to have someone to do life with, not just someone who is sitting there and observing, but actually interacting with you, playing with you. You have this child playing with the soccer ball beside this wax figure of a father, longing for connection. We move to the dining room where it should be a place of sitting together, sharing a meal, having conversations about the day. And again, father is completely absent. And it just gets deeper by the second. This child desperately trying to connect with his father and play with him, and it's to no avail. Disappointment, frustration, and the emotion builds. Not only does the crescendo in the musical composition build, but it's also the emotion in the lyrics and in the whole music video, because we're going from a child that is growing increasingly frustrated at his dad's lack of presence and lack of support, lack of connection. And it now transitions to the boy taking in the world around him. And there's a lot of symbolism here. That too is very human. Not only do we look inward and we start internalizing when our parents treat us a certain way, that's why abuse can be so painful, not only physical, but also emotional, spiritual, verbal abuse. Because before we ever start hating our parents, we often start hating ourselves. And it affects our relationship to the parents. It now affects how we relate to ourselves and who we are. And it now affects how we relate to the world. And you see this boy turning outward from trying to understand his home and his inner world and his relationship with his father. He's now looking outward and observing the world around him, which is very much part of the human development. And I see great symbolism here, because we have these ladies who are dressed the same, who may or may not are meant to imply twins. That I feel like can be symbolic, because in our world, psychologically, we look for people to mirror us. That's why reaction videos are so powerful, because we see our emotions mirrored in another. We see someone else loving the things we love. And I did a whole documentary on that, so go check that out if you're interested, about the psychology of reaction videos. But the idea of potentially implied twins here, to me, is powerful, because it plays on the psychological concept of how we have that tendency to look for bias confirmation. We look for those mirror neurons to go off by seeing other people be like me, enjoy things like me. I'm looking for my place in the world. Show me someone that I can be like. Show me someone that I'm similar to, right? We look for that in the political sense. A lot of people get polarized because biologically we're very tribal, so we're looking for our people. We look for that in when it comes to nationalities, ethnicities, and race, where we're looking for our people. There's something special when you can speak with someone in your mother tongue and they understand where you come from, or you can celebrate the fact that you both know a certain dish from a certain country. We're looking for someone to be like us in friendship, in romance, in our family. But the family is the very first place where we're looking for that. We are playing off of our siblings. We're playing off of our parents. That's why people that have been through adoption or been in the foster system often have to go through a whole host of separate healing processes and identity forming journeys, because there's that big gaping wound of, where do I come from? Who am I really? And trying to find their place in this world. It's a deep psychological thing that we do as human people. It brings meaning to the world when you know where you come from, when you know where you belong, when you see yourself represented somewhere and you realize this person looks like me and they're famous, they're beautiful, they're popular, they're successful, they made it. Maybe there's hope for me yet, right? We're looking for someone to be like us. I also see here possibly a conversation, and this is my interpretation subjectively, about these beautiful ladies walking the dog and waving at him. To me, this also possibly implies a young man stepping into adulthood, and the way that men view women and the way that young boys respond to pretty girls waving and temptation and that first crush and that longing to fall in love, or any type of sensual and sexual stimuli, is directly influenced. The way they respond to that is directly influenced by the presence or absence of a father. So maybe that could also be a conversation starter. How is this boy going to perceive these women? How much power does sex and seduction have over a young man without the guidance of a father, without a man who shows him what it means to be a man, how to treat a woman, what to look for in a woman, what kind of woman to avoid, right? Who's going to teach that young boy how to be a man and how to relate to other men around him, to other women? The same goes for girls that need to learn from their fathers what it's like to be loved by a man and how to be treated by a man and what to expect or not to expect from one and what to tolerate or not. You then have the scene changing to this man and his father who are riding the bicycle together. They're all dressed identical, and I think that's a powerful conversation about just how much we are our parents. No matter how hard we try to break generational patterns, no much how much we try to break the mold, we come from our parents, and it will have a direct influence on who we are. This little neighborhood with the cute little cars, it's very eclectic, it's very cute, and almost like a doll life, almost like you were placed into a little Barbie doll world or a little doll world. And ironically, even though everything looks so perfect, there's so much pain going on in that boy's house. That too, another important conversation, not to be fooled by the things we see around us, to be willing to have the hard conversation and not assume that because it looks like a nice neighborhood or it's a wealthy place or because something looks a certain way means by default that it's wonderful behind closed doors. You have wonderfully looking houses where there are horrors going on behind closed doors. And in the same sense, you have places that might not look very welcoming, rich, or wonderful from the outside, and inside there are people that are really doing their best to be present fathers and mothers and families. Ladies are dancing. There's a lot of artistry here, elements of doll-like movement, that constant theme of being a puppet and being in sync. This little boy admiring and observing, taking in real people dancing, elements of joy here. Maybe this is implying a father-son relationship where there's a lot of playfulness going on. They're working together. There's a lot of entertainment and fun. This is a father who's having a good time with his son. The way that the dance movements are occurring, father is guiding his son's arms, showing him how to move. Very much a nod to the job of a father, to guide, to mold, to teach. Playfulness, dancing, joy, the things that this boy longs for from his father. Amazing dance moves, amazing choreography, silliness, a son observing his father dancing around, a son observing his father, learning from him, moving in sync, operating together. I feel like this scene implied the playfulness of a father. A lot of fathers, good fathers that I know, they enjoy playing with their children, being silly. They bring a lot of joy, and scientifically, it is so powerful for a child to experience both. Science has shown us that various parts of the brain are stimulated through various things. The nurturing of a mother, her love, her care, her consistency, so many things that women in their particular way of parenting, biologically, of course there's variations, but I'm generalizing to simplify the argument, it deeply affects the formation of a child's brain and their personal development. And what the father brings with his discipline and consistency, and the way often fathers will bring in more of the structural element, the discipline, the teaching, the goofiness that a father can bring, that sometimes fathers are more prone to. Again, just generalizing for simplicity's sake, not that moms don't get silly with their kids. It has a direct scientific impact on brain development and personality development. And you see this father-son duo riding away, doing life together, working together. This boy's learning from his dad how to have fun, how to be goofy, how to move, how to be artistic, how to work and hand out the mail. And now we're back to the home of this boy, and we'll talk about the lyrics in a second, pleading to his father to be present. The lyrics are painfully powerful. If you didn't understand all of the lyrics, we're going to look over them in just a second in English. The phrase where he said, "Dad, where are you?" And he says it's easy to make babies, but nobody really wants to knows how to be a dad or where the dad is. Tell me where is dad. Tell me where he comes from. At least I'll know where to go. Mom says that when you look hard, you always find something. She says he's never far away. He leaves for work very often. Mom says working is good, better than being in bad company, right? Where are you, Dad? Tell me where are you, Dad? Without even having to talk to him, he knows what's wrong. Oh, beloved Dad, tell me where are you hiding? I must have counted my fingers at least 1,000 times. May we believe it or not, there'll be a day we don't believe it anymore. One day or the other, we'll all be dads, and from one day to another, we'll disappear. Will we be hated or hateable? Will we be admirable? Just passing on genes or genius? Amazing. That question, what am I passing on to the next generation? Am I just passing on genetics? My child has my DNA and now I'm out? Or are we passing on genius, teaching things, passing on valuable things? Are we going to be hated or admired by our children? Tell us who gives birth to these irresponsible people. Everyone knows how to make babies, but no one knows how to make dads. Mr. Know-It-All must have inherited it. That's right. Maybe you need to wing it or something. Tell us where they're hiding. We must have bitten our fingers at least 1,000 times. And that too, so painful to go from counting on your fingers and asking so many times, where are you, Dad? Where are you, Dad? It makes me also think of compulsive behaviors that sometimes some people, not all, some people develop in the face of trauma, where we have tendencies to obsess over certain things, counting over and over again, tracing things with our fingers in a moment of deep anxiety and anguish, because it gives some sense of consistency and reliability. I can rely on my fingers. I can rely on the fact that I can keep counting to 10 and it will continue being 10. I can count on the fact that I can trace along these lines in the table, and I can do so over and over again. And it's our way of there's different reasons behind why people do that, but it makes me also think of counting on the fingers, not only in the sense of how often have I counted, I'm counting how often I've asked for my dad, but also makes me think of obsessive behaviors when in the face of pain and trauma, we are going through the motions, trying to find a way to either detach from the severe pain and disassociate, or trying a way to have some type of control. Then I can control my fingers. I can count to 10 over and over again and trace the lines on the table. It gives me a sense of control when my reality is so uncontrollable. I feel so helpless and out of control. And then we go from biting fingers. We've gone from counting to biting our fingers. And that too is powerful, because children will, among other things, sometimes habitually bite their fingers or wet their bed when they are experiencing severe trauma and deep psychological issues. Biting the finger is a sign of stress and of anxiety, of something being off. And we've gone from counting our fingers to biting our fingers. Where are you, Dad? Tell me, where are you, Dad? And then it just tags and tags and tags. And these deep, painful lyrics are accompanied by the crescendo of the music, as I mentioned, of this music video. This boy who is getting angry with his father now. Where are you? There's a plea, there's anger, there's frustration. Dance moves of this child are amazing as well. The fact that he's dressed just like his father. Also a conversation starter about how we are our parents, how we want to mimic them, how we long to be like them. We want to be proud of mom and dad. We want to know where we come from. We then see multiple pairs of fathers, hardworking fathers, men with swag and class. Maybe also a conversation about where we learn that from. Our fathers who teach us to work hard, to be diligent, to be in sync, to be kind and smile. We see here a father who is very angry and intense, telling his child how to dance and what to do, scolding his father, looking at him with contempt, with disapproval perhaps, telling his child exactly how to breathe and move. This dance move was powerful to me because I feel like it implies a nod to the way that we breathe and the way that we move and the way we operate. This is the core of us, our heart, our lungs, the very thing we need for our existence. Possibly also a conversation about psychologically, not only physically how we need our lungs and our heart to live, but psychologically who we are, right? The seat of our soul, the very air we breathe, who we are at our core is influenced by the way that our parents treats us and what they teach us. And we have a father here who is possibly abusing his child, who is hurting his child, who is aggressive and angry and telling him exactly what to do, a child that's looking at him in fear. This pair, a conversation starter about the power of not only an absent father, but also a father who is present in the wrong way, who is causing harm, who is not allowing this boy to figure out who he is and dance to his own beat. A father who is maybe abusing his power, who is causing harm with his presence. I appreciate that it shows so many different kinds of fathers. It's not just contrasting the absent one with the present one. It's showing us playful fathers. It's showing us goofy fathers. It's showing us just how powerful generational patterns are, how deeply ingrained in us it is to want to be like mom and dad, that we copy them, we mimic them from an early on age, just how powerful the absence and the presence of a father is. How we learn to work from them, how we get our anger and the way that we react to problems from. And this boy is observing all of this from his home, seeing these fathers and sons, going back inside to once again see his dad just laying there. No life, absence. Having to take care of his father, turning off the water for him, trying so hard to get his attention. Longing for him just to say something, to do something, trying to entertain him. There's this variety of emotions from anger, frustration to playfulness. Kids will do all those things. Kids will act out to get attention, even if it's negative attention that they get, at least it's some attention. So you'll find kids acting out just to get a response, even if mom and dad yell at least there was some type of interaction. And then they build these habits upon that. Or it's trying to be goofy and silly and make mom and dad laugh. If this type of dynamic has been established, that's who you're supposed to be to mom and dad. And sometimes when multiple siblings are involved, of course, depending on your family constellation, that will also play a role. The way the eldest behaves versus the middle child and the youngest. But here we have a child going through all the possible behaviors, desperately trying. Maybe here even imagining what it would be like if his dad were doing with him what these other dads are doing with their sons, longing to dance with his dad. And by dance, I mean do life with, interact with, relate to his father. And we have here a scene of a boy, even these facial expressions, trying to recreate what he so desperately longs for. But it doesn't feel natural. The way he just looked at his hands, it feels wrong. He doesn't look happy. He looks like he can't breathe properly, like it doesn't fit, like he's desperately trying to make something work that is not working. All these dance moves, the entire choreography is so profound psychologically. This almost flapping of wings, right? When children get older, there's not only a desire to relate to mom and dad and to get their approval, but also to fly your own wings and be free and be approved of, your parent to watch you and say, I'm proud of you, now go. You're allowed to now flap your wings. But the way he's flapping his wings is very robotic. It's not like a bird that's ready to leave its nest. It's not like a human being who has received the support he or she needed to lift their wings. It's robotic and it's restricted and it's like it doesn't fit, like it's not working right. Trying to entertain his dad, who still is back in the car, getting ready to go back to work, not be present. This picture got me because it implies to me the emotional, physical labor of a child who is trying to get his or her parent to move. Dad back in the car, maybe a nod to dad always going to work, being gone, not in the house, but a child who's doing all the labor of trying to create some movement in the relationship, in his own home. The pressure of a child that feels like they have to push their parent forward. A lot of you I know can relate to this, that longing to help your parent if your parent struggles with addiction or is absent or is not living their life to their best ability. Children will often also grow up feeling like they have to now push forward the legacy, either by living their best life and they grow up under that pressure of feeling like they have to be perfect and figure it out to redeem their parents' failures and story, or like they have to push their parents forward to get help, to go into recovery, to go into rehab, to do better with their life. That pressure of compensating for the parents' financial mistakes and lack of being responsible now, maybe pushing forward their parent in that sense, right? I have to carry that burden and take care of my parents now because they didn't make the right decisions to take care of themselves and set themselves up for success later in life. It could be so many things, but pushing forward your parent, trying to get him to come home. Also perhaps an image that implies, I'm trying to push you back home into the driveway. I'm trying to get you home. I'm exhausted. I've tried so hard for you to be here. Where are you, Dad? And the scene cuts back to the sofa. And this part is powerful as well. You have a child who sits down next to his dad, almost like giving up, and becomes just like his father, turning into a wax figure puppet, a lifeless puppet. And this picture is powerful and painful because so often you see that generational pattern repeat where we ask ourselves all our life, Dad, where are you? Mom, where are you? And then that question becomes, who am I? And often we then surrender and become exactly the way they are. Another generation of absent fathers and mothers. And I think that this is a powerful conversation about exactly that, an important conversation where we ask ourselves, what will it take for me to break these generational patterns? What do I need to do to heal from the wounds? And to understand that for many of us, this may not just be a distant concept or a good talk for a YouTube video, but this is deeply personal because that inner child for many of us is still asking, Papaoutai, Dad, where are you? And I think in that healing journey, as you go, I would encourage you to seek therapy if you're hurting in this regard and you're struggling here. But in therapy and through healing, I hope we can get to a place where we can allow that inner child to heal and we can be the parent to our own inner child and the father and mother we would have needed. It's a process. And I won't say that there won't still be days, even after years of healing, when that wound tears open again and you feel like you never have healed to begin with and there's just pain. But I think that bit by bit, we can heal. And as we heal our inner child, as we learn to parent ourselves, we can also become better moms and dads and become present. So desperately do children need for mom and dad to be present. This song has gone viral for a reason. It is going viral again for good reason. And I hope that as you process this, listening to it, dancing to it, expressing yourself and seeking help and guidance and counseling, this can be another step in your healing. Go check out Stromae on YouTube and all the social media platforms. Listen to Papaoutai over there. And I will see you on the next ride. And please make sure to subscribe. Ayo!